Just a moment.
The development hell label would usually apply to a game that takes 10 years to make, but when the entire thing is developed by one guy, I think an exception should be made. Joachim Sandberg's Iconoclasts is a Metroidvania-style platformer set on a slowly dying planet where the daughter of a mechanic struggles to hold everything together and help whoever she can. Robin is an outlaw in Settlement 17, her crime being working as a mechanic when the Grand Authority, known as Mother, didn't say that she could. She and anyone she meets who doesn't follow Mother are hunted down by agents from a group called the One Concern. Then they're given penance, which translates to their house blowing up, usually with them still in it. One Concern also controls the vital resource known as Ivory, which powers basically everything. There are other people and towns Robin encounters whom don't follow Mother, and the conflicting beliefs between these people frequently take center stage, some of which boil down to,
My God has a bigger dick than your guy.
But the One Concern soldiers also show signs of splintering into different factions, so it's not just the world itself coming apart at the seams. While engaging enough, it seems like the character relations and themes come and go at will, and some don't get a proper resolution. Some conversations will end abruptly, and overarching themes will disappear for stretches of time. I didn't mind much though, since the major focus of Iconoclasts is the gameplay, which for the most part it nails. Robin can use her giant wrench to attack, deflect projectiles, open doors, swing to higher platforms, and eventually acquire additional abilities, like riding electrical wires or becoming her own power source. All of this works smoothly thanks in large part to the tight and responsive controls. I saw some people saying they had trouble with the hitbox for the wrench, but whether it was patched in an update or I'm just some kind of savant, hint, it's definitely not that, I didn't have that problem. My one issue was an occasional lack of clarity for where to go or what to do. Fortunately, when that happened, I always started fairly close to wherever I was supposed to go. Robin's far from defenseless thanks to her stun gun, and weapons she gets later like the bomb launcher, both of which can be charged to unleash a stronger attack. The stun gun also has a certain amount of auto-aim, extending in an invisible cone in front of Robin, making it easier to speed through areas with a bunch of smaller, more annoying enemies. Others require ground pounding, or firing bombs into their mouths, or being pushed into spike pits. She can use special materials found throughout the game to create equipable tweaks, which amplify certain abilities. These tweaks take damage the same way Robin does, but also, like Robin, can be restored. I thought this would be annoying to deal with at first, but they're easy enough to repair that I rarely gave them a second thought. There's more of a focus on platforming and door puzzles. I was a bit surprised at how far the developer pushed the design for these levels and puzzles, using the same abilities and eventual added abilities in a variety of ways to keep things from becoming tedious by the midway point. The secondary characters also help that. While sometimes you take control of one for their own little sections, most join Robin temporarily for story reasons or to help out with boss fights. And here is where Iconoclasts shines the most. The bosses, of which there are more than 20, are the best designed part of the game. Each feels unique and brings an element to the table that the preceding fight doesn't. Sometimes you have to help a character get into position to make the boss vulnerable. Another might have you swap back and forth between characters to help land attacks. Sometimes you just need to admit you're in over your head and run like hell. The bosses, and actually pretty much everything else for that matter, are helped by the visual design. It's apparent that of that 10-year development cycle, a lot of time went into not just making sure every pixel was in the right place, but every pixel was animated as smoothly as possible. Come to think of it, the whole game runs smoothly throughout, and it's very well optimized, at least on the platform I played. It's to the point that I was measuring load and save times not in seconds, but in fractions of a second. Very little about Iconoclasts, bosses or otherwise, feels like downtime or retreading for the sake of extending the length of the game. Of the time I spent playing, I wasn't bored outside of a couple times when I got lost. Others seem to agree, with overall Metacritic ratings being just north of 80% across the board. And yet, I almost forgot this game existed. That could be due to when it came out, January 23rd, 2018. You know what released 2 days later to widespread critical and commercial success? Celeste. While it may have flown under the radar for some, and by some I mostly mean me, I'm glad I got around to playing Iconoclasts. Credit where it's due to Joachim Sandberg for seeing his solo project through to the end, and to Limited Run Games for the physical copies they made, including this instruction booklet with the section about...
I cannot break the damn code! It's like that game in Super Mario! My God! What is the code? The code is... Who is the code? Is it Mick Foley? Mrs. Foley's baby boy? Who is it? Stone Cold is the code! Save us! Save us, Austin! Austin, save us! My God! It's The Rock! I can't believe it! Who is it? Who is Goldberg? No, it's... Who is Y2J? Y2J, Eddie Guerrero, Owen Hart, Arn Anderson. It is somebody with Y2J. Who is 1029? It's the football. My theme song chant. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Bobby Lashley. That's it. I'll be a son of a bitch.